So guys, there is a new devlog and I really like this state. It's, I would say, minimal viable product already for me because I can now work on animations and don't have to deal with importing and exporting. The IK bonds are supported, held objects are supported and so on. We can work with FK, IK. So I'm really excited to show you this state. So what I have here is a level sequence, which is connected to an animation sequence from ALS. It's basically the two hand pauses for the pistol. And we will see that the gun bond, the gun location is basically messed up because it's here. And if we go to the 0 keyframe and select the gun, which we can do here, or we can now click this button here, then we open the UI and we can work with the picker. And what we can do is clicking on this button here, then it will basically select the gun control. And if I press Ctrl V, so when I'm in the sequencer, you will see that we now have a proper decent location. And if we break the animation sequence, we will see that we have a proper location as well for the first pause, but not for the others, right? So, and as we see, the IK bonds are already constrained. We will see this in a few seconds how I did this as well. And what I really want to show you is the following. So if I move this cursor to this keyframe, we can click on this button, but at first we should select constant keyframes. That interpolation basically, and then we can click on this button here, populate, and we will see a lot of debugging stuff which I used to know where the hand location is, or the hand right bone. And if we move forward, you will see that we have a very decent location of the gun. So it's basically fixed now. If we save the animation sequence, so basically baking the keyframes into this one, we will also see here the stuff. So now we have a proper decent location with constrained IK bonds, so they look really good. And also the IK handgun bond, and also the IK hand L and R bonds, they are constrained as well. So that's what the ControlRig is doing for us. And we can do this with some custom nodes I developed for ControlRig. So yeah, you can implement in C++, it's very easy. And yeah, I know I wanted to provide a tutorial. I might do it soon, but currently focusing on the UI. So here you can constrain stuff if needed. Then a next feature which I really like is that we can now hide the controls of the ControlRig with this button here, or with this checkbox. I need to work a little bit on the state. That's not perfect yet, but soon it will. Or what we can do as well, if we, for example, want to work with those controls here, we can press the Control key and select all of them. And you should normally see which ones are selected here as well. So they should populate those selections. So even if I select here stuff, you will see them on the UI. So everything is connected basically to each other. And we can work with stuff. So even if I select more with Control or with Shift, you will see that those here are selected. And if I press on a empty space with the left mouse button, the controls get deselected. Or if I keep the mouse button pressed and drag the selection over, we can select all of those. And if we want to deselect stuff, we can still press the escape key on any window we are currently. So here, if we, for example, here we work here, we can do this. And what we can also do is switching between FK and IK very quickly with those checkboxes here. So then the UI changes a little bit, and we can select, for example, the left foot and move it forward with IK. Or if we work with FK, we can also do this. So if we, for example, want to, I don't know, I'm not an animator. So if we, for example, want to rotate the foot a little bit, we can do this as well. So yeah, it works really, really nice in my view already. And here we have proper gun locations. Let me see what else we can do. So we deselect stuff here. Oh yeah, you can drag from every direction you want, like a normal UI, from all 4 directions. I implement all of them. And what I really liked as well, or really I'm thinking of experimenting with stuff. So if we make the UI a little bit bigger, we have this property view here, and here we can work with the, let me show this to you, with the gun location. So here we have this proper location, and if we do a right click copy, we can work with Notepad++ if needed, and then adapt the stuff here if we want, and then paste it back. That's not implemented yet, but I will. And I was thinking that you might want to share those locations with your friends, which also have struggled with IK bones, and then yeah, provide them, or for my videos, so that you can follow them very easy and just use the same location and then tweak it a little bit. So that's what I'm working on. It works basically for all controls. So as we see, they get updated as well. So even for the last selected ones, there you will get the world locations basically. So if nothing is selected, nothing will get updated, right? So yeah, there needs to be still the name so that we know which one is showing up here. And for that, I'm using, these are very nice UMG widgets. I'm using the, how is it called? The open details, no, not open, details view, or the single property view. You can use them very easy if you set here, for example, the property name, and then go to your graph and say, yeah, this is my property basically. And in the brick construct, so that you see it's also in the designer view, you have to call this node set object and then say self. Then you're getting basically all properties here, and you can show them in the UI if needed. Or if you work with the details view, you can also get some section exposed if you want, or single properties, so how you want to work with them. And then you can use the clipboard basically, which I really like. You might have seen this already in my other videos. And yeah, to share basically the values, so that you guys are not having issues with finding the right spot, because it might take some time to tweak it and you might want to move on. So yeah, as we have already seen, still everything is connected to each other. Sometimes it has some issues. I don't know why yet, but now I don't know if it's an issue with updating stuff or strange. But yeah, let's focus on the ControlRig. So here we have those nodes, and these basically constrain the IK bounds if needed, and also the virtual bounds, and then we have proper locations. So here we see that the that the curves are messed up. So we definitely need some features. So that's might be the next sessions, or might be the next stuff I want to work on. I have a prototyping UI here, and here we have the following features. So we can basically constrain virtual bounds. We can add the curves modifier and copy the curves if needed from a source animation. Or we can set a linked animation. So if you basically click here, you will see that on the content folder, there should be the updated animation. And that's what we can set here as well later in the final UI. So basically, I don't know, maybe a settings window, a settings tab. And then you can basically bake the keyframes directly into an animation sequence, which is already running in animation blueprint, and then you can also do those changes during runtime. Or not runtime, during playing the game, which is a very fluent and very short iteration loop if you want to, I don't know, tweak the gun bound or so in a specific pause during gameplay, and then getting it properly and nice. So that's what we can do. And also the ControlRig gives us many possibilities to tweak the pauses. For example, what I don't like when it's retargeted, so let me make this a little bit smaller. If we go here, the spine bone, not the spine bone, the pelvis bone looks a bit weird and is also leaning forward. That's what I want to change. Then bake those animation sequence back, and then getting a proper customized pause for ALS, and we can then play on stuff. So yeah, that's basically the stuff I wanted to cover, except one topic. So what I'm doing currently is moving a lot of stuff to C++ to make it more generic. And for example, here we have some callbacks. And those callbacks are getting called by the base class. So for example, if we change a button or click on a button, we will get called here. If we change a checkbox state, we get called here, which we have seen for this IK stuff. So let me show this to you as well. So what we can do normally is the following. So here's the working instance, and if I click here, you should, it was very quick. You should see that the function is, or the event is getting called here. And if I click here, you will see that the widget is selected. If I click here again, widget is unselected. And here, many were selected. So that works very nice. And also, let me see if I have more interesting stuff for you, which you might find interesting for your own projects as well. No. So this is one section which I definitely need to rework. Also this one here. At the end, I want to achieve something like this. So it's very easy to read when you get into the event graph and work on stuff. Oh, I think what is very interesting is the callback for the mouse movement. So this is very complex. I don't want to explain everything to you, but what it basically does is getting the how it's called, the selection box, and I'm reusing the collision calculations of Unreal Engine for 2D vectors. So let me see if we can show this quickly. So it's a very short function, but it works so nice. So if we get here a box 2D, which is basically this selection box, we can then iterate over all widgets and calculate its size or its location. And then we just call intersect on this box here as well, because this is basically the bounding box around a widget. So for example, like the head here. So basically get the size and the location. I think it's the left top location. And then we can decide if it was selected or not. So basically here it's a widget in range and not it's out of range. And then for convenient, maybe if you just want to use this return value here, you get the number of selected or widgets in range, which are basically the selected one at the end. So you don't have to deal with this complex stuff anymore, because it's just hidden behind this function call. It's basically this one. And then you can work with your logic. For example, what I did here is said, oh yeah, when there is a new selected button, I just call the set highlighted button. That's basically a C++ implementation as well, an extended button. It just changes the, how it's called, the style. So I'm switching from hovered to normal with this function here. It's very easy. So just say, if it is already highlighted, we just return. If not, we set it to true, and then we update the style. And here you will see that I just changed the style from hovered to normal. And if we have a color override, we can also set the color here. So that's very convenient. It's 100 lines of C++ code, which saves me a lot of time, because I can just call this function here and everything is fine. So only if there's a button, if not, there is not yet. For checkboxes, there is not yet any stuff, but that's just what I need to get it working in just a few nodes. So yeah, as you see, all of this stuff later will look like this. So hopefully, if you want to make changes to the UI here, so basically this stuff, you can just reuse some function calls and then get a proper, or not a proper, a very different logic, or not logic, a very different look and feel of your PickerUI. So, and a very nice thing as well. So you see that this works with the third person template ControlRig, but it also works with other ones. So let me see, I think there was one. So here is Twin Blast, and let me quickly check. I think it was this level sequence here. So it also works with this Twin Blast stuff. So as you see, it's a different ControlRig. I think it was the rig from Lyra, which I extended a little bit and get it working with Twin Blast. So here we can work on the same selection. So it works with this one, and it also works with a MetaHuman. So let me quickly see if we can add one. So let me quickly see if I have one. I think so. So here we have the MetaHumans, and we can use the base mesh, I think, common. So we can use this preview mesh and add this in as a new track to sequencer. And we want to, how is it called? Here, preview. And we can add a ControlRig baked to ControlRig, MetaHuman ControlRig. So that's the only one we have. So here it says, yeah, here create. So now we have the MetaHuman ControlRig. And sure, if I select now here stuff, it's not connected to the UI because you need to change the one here. So why does it not work? Normally it should. Let me quickly check. Yep, seems to be an uncovered use case. So yeah, I'm still experimenting with stuff live, so it something might go wrong. And if what we already see is we can also select. So it works also with this ControlRig because it uses the same names. And yeah, so what you might miss, so that's what we get from Epic. So let me show you the ones from Epic. Pose library. I think it was in utilities. So what I will also add is the following. So at first you need to select here stuff, yes, and then you can click on the controls. I will also migrate this stuff here to this window. And then you can work with fingers as well, or with toes, if this is also needed. So yeah, I was talking, I think, way too long. And yeah, you will see that I'm really excited about this state. So what you also see is that the UI here is not changing. If you change from FK to IK, yeah, that's what I will implement as well. So it should always be connected to the controls. So you also don't see any highlighted controls here in this UI. So you just don't know what is selected. But here you will see it. So that works so much better. And we have the selection buckets here as well. That's also not covered here by this tooling. So interesting which controls are for this one. Yeah, that's so strange. So yeah, anyways, I don't want to blame this UI. It really helped me to get this stuff working, and I was really excited how powerful such UMG UIs can be in Unreal Engine as editor tools. So yeah, guys, let me think what you know about the UI. So if there's still something you would miss, or is there already everything you would need for basically getting your animation workflow more easy in Unreal Engine? So yeah, I would say see you in the next devlog, and happy coding to you and happy animating. Goodbye.